Hey, what's going on YouTube? Welcome back to another TDH upload. My name's Travis. Today's video, we're going to be working on the back platform deck for the J16. I think you guys are already getting the gist and following along with what's going on with this guy. So I'm going to spare you all the headache. I'm going to dive in and start sanding and knocking down all of this work that we did over the weekend, over the Thanksgiving holiday. Everything's cured and ready to rock and roll. So I'll save you guys all the headache of watching that nonsense on time lapse yet again. I'll dive in and basically I'll just check in with you guys when we're ready to lay down some paint, at least for the bottom side. So I'm gonna dive to it. I'll see you guys in just a few minutes. So I obviously forgot to update you guys there. I had a customer come by with a Boston Whaler and we chatted about a bow rail repair that I'm going to be doing for him. And right after I got done talking to him, I just loaded up my paint tray here with some of my bilge coat paint and went to work and was like, oh crap, forgot to update you guys. But it's pretty straightforward, just painting. She's all one color now. There is a few areas that I do need to touch up. If you guys look over here, a few spots that I missed that I could clean up here. And then over here, where some of the factory glass started to chip off and chip away when I was sanding this edge here, I had tabbed it in over here just like I did. You guys can see it's a little rough, but it's all tabbed in. And when I was sanding these edges down, feathering this down, getting all the raw glass off of there, I hit a good spot and it took out a chunk. And if you guys look back in the earlier videos, you can see this area was kind of rough. And I think that it was delaminating, and I didn't do a good job of actually prepping this area, bonding some new glass to it, and going from there. So I just got to come back and make that repair, and then when I do that, I'll come back in and touch up these few spots that I missed. And other than that, guys, it's looking better than ever. Here's the major repair where it cracked on the face. Got some voids right there. You guys can see where it didn't completely sandwich down all the way, but most of it is pretty locked in there. And same thing with the front, it looks pretty good. I've got to you know, swipe it with some micro balloon and then ferret out both sides, that one and this one. This is not the worst of it. This one's actually pretty good. That was the worst one. But yeah, other than that, guys, we're making some progress on this thing. We're back out here working on the platform deck. I didn't want to bore you guys with more of this nonsense, but I added more filler to the deck here. This is some all fair that I added, and this was the rest of that can that I had kicking around that I used on the center console. And then I spread out some more micro balloons in these areas right here, just building it up. So we're gonna do what I've always done, start knocking this down, sanding it, and prepping it so that way we can get it into primer and paint it up. All right, folks, well, this is the second to last, well, maybe the third to last time that you'll see me standing on this rear platform deck. As you guys watched in that time lapse, I faired everything out with 80 grit on the DA and the straight file sander. I found a few areas that were low, had some pinholes and stuff, so I mixed up some micro balloons, got them swiped in there. Same thing on my radiuses for where my repairs were. I got both of those guys filled up, so we're gonna let it do its thing, kick off, and then come back with some 80 grit once more, fair it all out, and once it's ready for that, I'll probably hit it with some 220, prep for primer, get it into primer, that two-part all fair kit that we bought for the bow deck. We're gonna use that same kit, get it into primer. Once that does its thing, I'll come back with 320, sand that out, and then we'll be ready to lay the final coat of paint. So final stretch, guys. It's not $1 million boat. I don't need to spend any more time on this. I've already invested a good bit of time and money into fixing this deck here. There was kind of no reason for me to do so. I probably could have found something that would have worked, and that where, you know, something online that has been already mass produced and that would have worked for my application. But this makes fun for, you know, a learning curve, and gives me some practice doing some glass and resin work. So we're all said and done. We're almost there. Final stretch, guys. While this thing does its thing, kicks off, cures, blah, 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 we're going to turn our attention to our center console. I decided that I'm going to keep the center console and we're just going to modify it I ran into an issue with my Yamaha flush mount shifters. The shifter came all the way down to the back of the console, so what we're going to end up doing is cutting out the face, raising it 7 inches, and then building a pedestal for the shifter and possibly for my steering wheel, so that way it doesn't have to be at this 35-degree angle. I can tilt it up a bit more, so that way it's a bit more flush to me while I'm standing above it, and obviously so that way we can fit the shifter control. So I know I'm running my mouth a lot. I just wanted to bring you guys up to speed on that. We're gonna go ahead and take the multi-tool here and start cutting into this guy. I'm gonna try my hardest not to go into the last layer of glass. If I can keep the last layer of glass as a backard, then I can have something to cabasil to when I lay my new plywood in there, but we'll see. We'll see, one thing at a time, but we'll nip into here and we'll go from there. So I may have gotten a little carried away when I cut out the face. I started to slap together some cardboard templating here, and this is my basic design that I've got. This is what we're looking at. This will be able to clear the bottom of the shifter, so that way I can get the shift cables up in there with no issues. My biggest problem now is going to be the offset for the wheel, how far the wheel is going to be over. This wheel is going to be a really tight fit. If I can get a wheel that's a tad bit smaller, then I think we'll do good, but we shall see as we put this thing together. So that's my update for right now. Like I said, I did get a little carried away there, and I don't know, I've just got a real into the zone here. So what I'm gonna do is throw you guys on time lapse, start taking this thing apart, and then cut out this main face and then start working from there. So it's been a few hours playing around with the shape, and I think this is the final form that I'm going to go with here. I did run into a few different issues. You guys probably noticed in the time lapse, the blocks for the shifter pedestal here were actually much smaller, and that's because I had them at about this size right here, right around here. And the problem that I ran into was that when I put the shifter all the way in forward gear, it ran into the console and bumped up against the GPS. So I was like, well, that's not going to work. I had to make a quick change, and this is what I've come up with. So the only thing I don't like, and I'm sure you guys can notice, are a few things. One, I split the wood here, running the screw back into it. I had to pull it back just a tiny bit, and when I was running that screw in there, it split it a bit more. And then you guys can look up here and see where I had cut out for the shifter to originally fit, and then you can see the 2 screw holes where I had it originally mounted. So I'm gonna have to do something about that. I'm kind of contemplating on maybe just taking a block and putting another block piece in there and making it some sort of pedestal or something, so that way I could maybe set my phone in there, maybe build a little phone holder or something. I don't know, I'll figure it out, but definitely had to make that change. And yeah, it's kind of annoying, but there we have it, center console. And the other thing is my steering wheel is going to be like mounted like over here, so pretty far offset, maybe, yeah, probably around here. That way I can get a decent look at my GPS, and I don't have to reach so far down for it, but I don't have to hit my knees on it when I am sitting down and actually driving it. But we're getting there. We're getting there. I'm excited to have the shifter actually mounted in place, because that was the real big headache and the whole reason that we're doing this thing and cutting up a perfectly good Carolina Skiff center console. So that's all that I have for tonight as far as the center console goes. I'm going to turn my attention back to the platform. We're going to get that into primer, get that into paint, and wrap this video up. So I'll see you guys tomorrow. Well, as you guys saw there in the time lapse, I got some 545 high build primer laid down. This is from All Grip. I did about a 12-ounce batch, and it was more than enough to lay down a thick, heavy coat on the back platform. There are a few areas that I do need to tend to. If you guys look closely here, there's some fiberglass pinholes that are still exposed. Same thing with right here. You can actually see some of my chop mat right here, and then over on this side here, I do have a bit of glass showing, so I need to tend to that. I'm gonna let this stuff kick off and do its thing. Once it's cured and hardened, I'll come back and ferret out those areas, mix up just a small batch of some micro balloons, get that pushed all in there, and then from there we can lay down our final coat of primer and be done with this thing. Get it mounted on the boat, get the seat on it. We can start working on the console or making headway on the console, and then we can start trying to figure out what we're gonna do about mounting that guy to the back platform, and then what we're gonna do about the transom mounts. So very happy with the overall finish. It's gonna look even better when we get our last coat of paint on there. So I'll see you guys hopefully tomorrow when we do that. All right, folks, well, that was it. As you guys saw in that time lapse, that is our last coat of paint here on the rear platform deck. I'm very happy with the way that it came out. It's looking nice and shiny, all beautiful, glimmering here in the shop. I'm excited to see what it looks like after it's all dry and cure. We're gonna come back, check it one more time just to make sure I don't need to add another layer of paint to it. And then we'll get it installed on the boat. And like I said earlier in the video, we'll move our attention to getting that pulling platform mounted on there. My bender came in this week, so hopefully we can start bending out some material for that. I also picked up a few plates here, kicking around the shop. We're gonna be building a fuel tank for the J16, so there's still a lot on the agenda for this build. I appreciate you guys following along on the platform deck restoration, conversion, whatever you guys wanna call it. I know it was getting a little repetitive, you know, with me kind of just showing you guys the process of it, but I did want to film it all, document it, and post it up for you guys. So other than that, I do appreciate you guys watching. Hopefully in the next video, we will be getting that guy on the boat and hopefully hearing from the machine shop on the Yamaha and doing some work on that. So again, lots of stuff to do, lots of stuff for the J16 to come. So be on the lookout for that. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I will see you in the next upload. Later.